Hey guys, and welcome to the Mutual Friends Podcast. I hope you're doing well wherever you are, wherever you're listening. Welcome back if you have listened before, and welcome if you are new here. We are very glad to have you be a mutual friend. So if you're new here for today's podcast, we're going to be talking about like childhood rules or childhood memories. I'm still kind of trying to figure out like what we're going to call it, but essentially it was thought of, like I was thinking about a certain like weird rule that I had when I was little, and I was like, oh, I wonder if I'm going to carry that to when I have kids, or other rules that like I still carry into my adult life today or still adhere to for some reason. I was like, oh my gosh, I wonder what other people have to say about this. So I went to Reddit. And there was some like really, really great submissions. So that is the like topic of the podcast. But we always start the podcast with the group chat. And the group chat is typically our top 3 stories of the week, what we want to know, what we want to talk about, what we want to chit chat about. Today it is multiple stories. You could call it one big story. You could call it 3 stories. You could call it 7 stories. You could call it the Tortured Poets Department, because that is going to be the entire group chat. I'm not even going to lie. So we'll get into that in a second. I'm not going to lie. I've already actually recorded this podcast once, and then it was really fascinating. I went to the SD card, and then it just wasn't there. Just was not there at all. I even looked at my SD card in the other camera I had with me as if the file in a ghostly way, like phantom walked over and into that SD card. It obviously was not there either. It wasn't even that like I put it in the computer and it wasn't reading the file. Like I had it in the camera, I looked in the camera, and it's just totally not there. And it's 2 files. I had 2 separate files. Anyway, so but that's okay, because actually this works out because I'm back in my home studio. I had to remote podcast for that one, which was kind of fun because I literally just brought like all the equipment with me, mic, camera, and all, and you guys were with me. I was in Hilton Head with Sarah. If you are catching up, oh my God, wait, guys, are you on Snapchat? I've been on Snapchat forever, but I've never really used it as a platform to hang out with you guys, like Snapchat stories, and I am starting to use Snapchat stories, so I'm very excited about it. As always, it's Sarah Baus. Please go follow me on Snapchat. It's a very fun time. I'm really, really enjoying it. But anyway, so if you follow me on Snapchat already, or if you follow me on Instagram, I posted about it a little bit. We went to Hilton Head. It was very fun, just beach and chilling. And then on the drive home, it's about a 2-hour drive back home. Me and Sarah just basically we sat in silence and listened to Taylor Swift, to the new album, which we've been listening to all weekend. But you know when you like go out or go on a vacation with your friends, and then you are like on the way home, or like the vacation is over and you're just in complete silence? Like I was on my phone, she was driving. I'm positive if we had been in a house, we would have gone to 2 separate rooms and just sort of had like quiet time, because you need that. And you know what? I was talking to some friends and we were planning a Disney trip. I thought it would be super fun to go on a Disney trip with these people, which might I say is quite the compliment, because I won't go to Disney with just anybody. And I know that probably sounds so bitchy, but if you are a frequent Disney person, a Disney adult, if you grew up on Disney, you know, I've been enough to where I have a routine. I know like what I like to do. We are not go. Even for first time Disney people, I don't recommend doing it so hardcore like you see on social media or like in videos or whatever. I really suggest doing it in a certain way it's supposed to be a vacation. So like treat it like a vacation. And not everybody is, I'm not going to bring everybody to Disney. One, because I grew up on Disney. So a lot of people do refer to, like, my friends will be like, oh, I want to go to Disney with you. Like, do it your way. And like have you be like a tour guide. I don't always want to do that. Especially like, okay, I know this might sound bitchy. I'm not meaning it in a mean way. What I mean is like, if somebody is wanting to go to Disney and do the running, run amusement park, run Disney, like run. I'm not going to do it that way. That's not my style. That's not my speed. And that is totally fine. If you want to do that, it's not how I recommend doing it, but if that's your speed, go, run, be free, eat a Mickey pretzel, like whatever. It's totally fine. I'm not going to be the one. Now, if you want to go to Disney and you want to have a vacation, you want to take advantage of the magic of Disney in the leisure way and be like, get on the certain rides that we want to go to the best restaurants because we know where to go at our leisure, not have a schedule of, we got to be at this time. No. We know what time we want to be places. We know when to not go because it's busy. We know the pathways to get to places because we've been there 100 times. I could literally, I haven't done it in a while, but I used to be able to drive from where we live in Charleston, well, technically from my parents' house, but I could do it from my house as well, to Disney with no map. Charleston, South Carolina, Orlando, Florida, no map. I'll tell you what, it's not a hard drive. Most of it is one highway, but there are, you got to get to the highway, all those type of things. And I really loved bragging about that. I haven't done it in a while, so I probably couldn't do it now. But like, that's my speed. So back to the story. I was talking to a friend and I was like, oh yeah, like we could, do like plan on like 3 days together. And then if like, we'll probably stay a little bit longer, or if anybody wants to stay longer or come before or after, that's totally fine. So they can have like them time, because it's a couple. So it would be me and Joseph and then these two people as a couple. And he was like, oh, like you already think you're going to get sick of us? I was like, no, but let's not be dumb. If you're going on vacation with friends, if you are in a group of people, I think it's harder when you're in couples for whatever reason, because then you're balancing like your emotions as a unit, not just yourself. Like you need to plan some separation time. Either have like that vacation be like part of it is everybody and then part of it you're split up. Have it throughout the week that you are splitting up, or people are able to take their own, take their time or go somewhere else or separate, like, but you need it. I have wonderful friends and I've been on enough group trips. In fact, we plan one every single year for Christmas. I've done this enough. You need to have some separation time. You just need to. You need some silence time, you need some quiet time, and you need to be with people who will understand that if you need to go to your room and silence, if all of a sudden you can't find somebody, just let them be. If you don't think they're in danger, if you're like, oh, where's Billy? Billy's hiding in their room on the bed rotting, watching TikToks, recharging. Allow for the recharge time on a friend group trip, or else you won't leave friends. And like, that's not good either. So anywhoozle, where was this going? Oh, we were driving back from Hilton Head and it was just complete dead silence. And it was glorious. I really, really enjoyed it. We made a couple comments, talked about Taylor Swift, and then she dropped me off at home and I waved goodbye and it was great. So anywhoozle, let's get into the group chat. Let's talk about Tortured Poets Department. I'm going to go over some of my favorite songs. If you have not listened to it, I highly recommend listening to it in the way that Sarah had me listen to it. And okay, I know that you know this, because this was a dumb thing that I didn't know, that I'm pretty sure the entire world knew. But I didn't know that when you buy a CD, and hold on before somebody's like, this is Gen Z. First of all, anybody wondering, I am Gen Z. Some people would call me a zillennial. I was born in 1997. I identify with Gen Z, and I will hold my flag there. So shut your mouth. Second, I am old enough, however, I bought CDs when I was little. My parents collected CDs, so I'm very aware of CDs. I did not know that the front of the CD, like the cover, was a lyric booklet that could be taken out of that front thing and you could read the lyrics. I had no clue. So when on Friday, Sarah's a huge Taylor Swift fan. I'd say I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan. Like, I'm going to her concert. I'm going to Milan to see her. I think that's pretty big. Although, you got to be careful, because Swifties, I'm not as educated as other Swifties are. But she is a huge Taylor Swift fan. So she's teaching me the ways to do it. We wake up on Friday. She says we have to drive to our nearest Target, which at this point we're in Hilton Head. That was in Bluffton. We had to drive to Bluffton, do the to the Target to get the CD. And she said, we have to get the CD and then we have to take the lyric booklet out and we listen to it while reading the lyrics. I was amazed. I was like, what? She was like, you've never taken out the lyric booklet? I was like, no, I was taught not to destroy my property. I was taught to take care of my things. I realize that's not destroying the property. That's literally the point. But it was beautiful. So we went to Target. We got the CDs. And then we did a couple other errands. Went to the beach, had a little speaker, and we laid out tanning, and we held the booklet and read it together. It was such a girlhood moment. We were just reading Taylor Swift lyrics while listening. It was so fantastic. I really think now, like, my philosophy is that if you're going to listen to any album, you need to listen to it in order. You need to listen to it with the lyric booklet and reading the lyrics. And it's such a beautiful experience. I truly loved it. So my favorite songs on the album, let's go through it. Also, oh my God, I haven't listened to it on the Sonos. Sarah's parents, actually, they had a Sonos system. They have a Sonos system, but they were replacing some of the speakers. So Joseph and I, they gave those 2 speakers to us for free, which was so incredibly kind. We put 2 speakers in and we are like, oh my God, we love these. So then we immediately ordered 2 more Sonos speakers. And so now we have 4 in the house. I say this, just let the sarcasm, wait, can I say this? Oh God. Yeah, I'm going to say it. I swear, I wouldn't have been put on medication if I had a Sonos system. I'm joking, but also, if I'm feeling sad, especially as somebody who works from home, music, just having this music be playing throughout the house, and that's something that I really loved. In their house, they have music playing all day. As soon as you wake up, there's music playing, and a lot of times because they're near the beach, it's like that beach vibe music, and I love it. I love it so much, and oh my God, so now we have that. So in the house, we constantly have music playing in my house. It is, and I wake up and I turn the Sonos on and it's music everywhere. And I do think the Sonos system is superior because the sound is fantastic. You can control it from your phone. It's not like a Bluetooth speaker, so I can be watching TikToks while the music's going on because I don't know, I feel like being overstimulated. It's so good. It is literally so good. Outside of that, okay, so I'm going to be listening to this after I finish this podcast on the Sonos system. Very excited. My favorite songs are Fortnite, The Tortured Poets Department, My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys. Okay, I don't like the song Down Bad. I know a lot of people do. I think that I might like it if I don't really listen to the lyrics. I kind of feel like it's a bit, I was like, oh, that's kind of not cringy, but it's a little odd. Down bad is such a slang term. I felt like it was kind of awkward. But I know that some people are really enjoying it. So Long London, I love it. Fresh Out the Slammers, fantastic. Florida, I love. Who's Afraid of Little Old Me? Holy shit, that song is crack. What else? I Can Do It With a Broken Heart, The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived. I like The Little Black Dog. And then I really need to go through, I like Peter. And then I really need to go through the second half of the album again because by the time we got to the end, we were getting so sleepy because the sun, we were on a beach, the sun is out and you just kind of get tired. And then it's also a very soft album. And some of the songs really make me want to just clock out, go to sleep. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I saw a video where somebody did the, is the Who's Afraid of Little Old Me? And then You Should Be. And then it went into the transition to I don't like your little games. What is that song? Problems. Not for me, not for me. All you gotta do. You're probably yelling at the thing right now. No. In the nick of time. Look What You Made Me Do. God, that took forever. I'm so sorry. Anyway, it was a transition from Who's Afraid of Little Old Me to Look What You Made Me Do. If that happens in Milan, I will be a puddle on the floor. I'm so excited. I have to figure out my outfit. So now what I want to do is listen to the album and then dissect every lyric because I kind of want to have an outfit. I'm either going to have an outfit that is so basic and so just clear, because I just want to be flashy or bedazzled or beaded or something. Or I'm going to have an outfit that is referencing not necessarily a whole song, but a lyric, and something like or maybe something in a music video that's a little bit more nuanced. I love attention, so I'm probably going to do the clear one, but in my mind, I'd like to be as mysterious, cool, and interesting enough to do the lyric one. Stay tuned. But yeah, Tortured Poets Department, I think it's absolutely fantastic. Also, LOL at the fact that Joe was like, oh shit, and his team was like, oh shit, this album's coming out, and then it was basically not even about him. Ha, 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 ha. Just, it's so good. Anyways, so let's get into the podcast. So I want to talk about, first of all, the rule that started this podcast, and then I'm going to go into the screenshots of the Reddit posts that I thought were so funny of childhood rules that we had, and then we either bring into adulthood or we just distinctly remember. So the thing that I remembered was I was not allowed to read Nicholas Sparks as a child. I wasn't allowed to watch his movies. I wasn't allowed to read his books. The first one that I ever did watch and I was allowed to read and watch was Safe Haven. In fact, I think it's the only one I've ever read and watched because I have seen scenes from The Notebook. I have not seen The Notebook to my knowledge. I don't think I've ever actually sat down and watched it. Same with the Titanic. But Safe Haven I did read and I watched because I was a huge Julianne Hough fan. If it weren't for Julianne Hough, I would have never had exposure to really anything Nicholas Sparks. But my mom didn't allow me, get this, my mom did not allow me to read Nicholas Sparks when I was younger because she didn't want me to have a wrong view of what love is and an unrealistic view of love, which is so funny because now I read smut about fairies. Also, my husband it was written out of a book, and that is a female written book. I could not have gotten a better guy. So I think she was probably really successful with that. But yeah, now I read about bad boys and very unrealistic expectations because these men have wings and powers, and so does the main character, and I have neither of those things, which I will resent for the rest of my life. But so that's what kind of kicked this off, and so I want to go through these submissions, and then what I think would be so fun, honestly, if you guys have. If as you're listening, if you guys have rules that you remember as a kid, they're like, oh my gosh, yeah, I remember this was something in my house. I want you to submit them. Go ahead and send them in. If you're watching on YouTube, comment them. Actually, yeah, that's probably the best way to do it. Let's gather them on YouTube. Comment under the YouTube video for this podcast your rule from your childhood that you either just sort of remember or you still hold today. So this was one that I love. This is, I still hold onto the side of the cart when I go shopping with my mom. I need to know how old this person is because if this person's 26, that is wild. That is really wild. I feel like we can definitely let go now, especially, unfortunately, this is going to be gendered. If this is a boy, that's such a major ick since I am a heterosexual female. However, if this is a girl, it's kind of cute. It's oh, mom. There is absolutely a double standard. I find that hysterical. This one, I nearly always, this one is a little sad. I nearly always walk on my tiptoes so I don't make noise when I walk, because if I ever made noise walking as a kid, I would be in trouble. That makes me so that's really, really, it's trauma. It's very, really sad. Somebody said, I'm the same way. My feet are terrible, probably. I also walked on my tiptoes, not because I would get in trouble when I made noise, but just, I don't know, I didn't know how to put my heels down. And now I have what I call duck feet. Joseph calls shovel feet. So that's perfect. I remember my mom didn't like the smell of, she when we would play outside, we'd come inside, she'd be like, oh my gosh, they smell like outside. And it's the smell of kids when they're running around in the backyard or in the woods or whatever, and they come back inside and it's sticky sweat. And of course we're in South Carolina. So it's sticky summer, hot weather kid sweat. She was she does not like that smell. I mean, who does? But she really didn't like it. So we had to definitely go hop in the shower. Next one. This I find hysterical. I have horrible anxiety about doing anything the afternoon/evening after calling in sick. When I was a kid, if you were too sick to go to school, you're too sick to play. So if I ever call into work sick but feel better later, or while I should have been working, I force myself to stay home and not do things I want to do. I won't go out at all. That's so funny. It's just like this carrying guilt. My mom used to let me take mental health days. And this was I used to do this in middle school. I was super high strung. I was an oldest daughter, so let's just keep that in mind, super high strung. So she absolutely, like when I would get like I'm going to freak out, she would let me take mental health days. I would stay home. And honestly, a lot of that time, like I would just stay home and just complete homework or like get ahead of work and just sort of, it was basically a reset day to like set myself up for success, or like if I just needed a brain rest, whatever. She was really, really good about that, which I so appreciate. This I find hysterical. No, if I needed to call off work and I felt better that night, Joseph's better to be taking me to Mexican. We're celebrating. Next. Oh, this one, okay, I do not relate to. I didn't have this rule. No phone calls before 9 a.m. or after 10 p.m. We've been getting a robocall after 10 recently, and it infuriates me beyond all reason. Good God. No phone calls before 9 a.m. and after 10 p.m. I didn't have this, but also nobody called me. So I don't know if this like is very relevant. We also got rid of our house phone like pretty early on. Like as soon as cell phones like really became like a huge thing past the BlackBerry, but like Razors and stuff, we got rid of that house phone so fast. We didn't really have this, and I didn't really have people to talk to. So maybe that's why it wasn't a rule. I do think this is kind of nice though. It would be a good rule. And I think it's something I probably will try and implement is like no phone. Like the phone time is between certain hours of the day, and especially like phones go down at like 8 p.m. or something, so that, you know, you're not like doom scrolling in bed, and just like kind of getting into the habit of not having that phone in your face. Like this really makes me reflect on how, if I have kids, like how I would want to raise them. You know, I find it interesting. This person under it said, my parents taught me this as proper phone etiquette growing up. You don't call people before 9 a.m. unless it's an emergency. It feels weird as an adult to get/make calls before 9 when I'm home. Though my mom recently told me that the reason we had that rule was because my grandmother thought it was impolite to call people before 9. So that rule was so no one accidentally called our grandparents' house. I think that's so cute. But that's actually interesting that it's about etiquette. I would say that that's fair. Like phone etiquette, like don't know if I was ever taught that, but I don't think I would call somebody before 9 a.m. And I think I would greatly hesitate to call somebody after 7, you know? And it was definitely a thing like for like my grandparents' house. Oh, wait. Yeah, when we would be sitting down to dinner, like especially at my grandparents' house, and like somebody called, it'd be like, oh my God, who's calling? It's dinner time. So like you don't call really like after 5, because I grew up in the South, so we have dinner earlier. Or at least that's what I think. All of my northern friends like find it weird that dinner is like 5 or 6. I don't know when other people have dinner. I want to know I need to know what time other households had dinner. When you were a kid and you sat down for dinner with your family, like every night, school nights and stuff, what time was dinner? I need to have a poll. Next one. Oh, this is interesting. Only open one box of cereal at a time and never eat the last of something you didn't buy. My mom instituted this later because I would always eat all of her Swiss rolls. Now I do it partially out of respect and partially out of fear of my mom beating my ass. I think that's so funny. I also think that's quite respectful. Don't eat the last of something that you didn't buy. Although if you're a kid, your parents are buying you everything, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of things that our parents bought us that were not for them, like the Gushers or something. But only open one cereal box at a time. That's a good rule. That's a very good rule. I'm also looking at these, and I'm realizing that, again, if I have kids, if/when, I think I'm going to have some weird rules. Like I'll be really relaxed in some areas, and then there's just going to be some things that it's just like, no, we're just going to learn this really early on. I really want my kids to understand like cleaning up and taking care of an environment really, really young. We'll see how that works out. Don't hold me to it. Next, The first thing you do when you get home is change out of your day clothes and into your play clothes. Lounging around the house in nice clothes is a stain or tear just waiting to happen. This I don't relate to, but I don't know where I got that from. I remember in college, we would, you get home from class or like back to the dorm for me, because I was in dorms all 4 years. You'd get back from your classes. Like when I wake up in the morning and I put on an outfit, that is the outfit I have on for the rest of the day. The only reason I change is if I'm like going out to a nice dinner or something. I didn't change from like school clothes to home. When I got home from high school, I didn't like get into comfy clothes. I just like when I got in the shower that night, I was taking off my jeans or whatever. Like I remember people come to my dorm and they'd be like, "Why are you still in your jeans?" I'm like, because that's the outfit I wore today. What are you talking about? I think I do it a little bit more now. And the only time I changed out of like school or work clothes was when I was working in a department store, because I had to, especially when I was working at the makeup counter, because one, I had to wear all black. Not my preferred. I don't really actually like wearing all black. I think it's because I worked at a makeup counter, and so now I just associate it with work, and I would smell like the makeup counter. I smelled like perfumes and cosmetics and stuff like that, and I didn't like it. So I would change out of that because they were not my favorite. Next one, eat the whole fortune cookie before you read the message, otherwise it won't come true. Doesn't work with all of them, since nowadays they're mostly just bits of wisdom rather than predictions, but I always stuck with it. This reminded me, I had a friend who listen to this, okay? With a fortune, if he wanted it to come true, if he liked it, he'd crack the fortune open, crack the fortune cookie open, take the fortune out, read it. If he liked it, he would take the cup that he was drinking out of. And normally at like Chinese restaurants, it's like those red Coca-Cola cups, and would have the condensation on the side. Stick it to the cup and get it wet, okay? Peel it off, roll it into a ball. So it's now a wet paper ball, and he would take it like a pill. Eat it. He was like, if you want your fortune to come true, you'd eat it. And let me tell you, I've probably eaten 6 to 10. Like, I don't really know. But I definitely did it because this person was also older than me, only by like a year or two or something. But I looked up to them. I thought they were very cool. So I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to eat my fortunes from now on. And I can tell you, I did it. I learned that in high school. I did it through college. And I think I have done it a couple times out of college too. Whatever works. I'm just saying. No overhead lights while driving. Who else learned that you're not supposed to turn the overhead lights on while driving? If somebody turns on the overhead light, I'm convinced we're going to crash. Even though I'm not sure it really affects all that much if I'm thinking about it. Like when I'm driving now, I'm like, I don't really think that it makes that much of a difference. But I knew you did not turn the overhead light on while Dad was driving. Absolutely not. I remember this one. When I'm in a store, especially ones that have lots of breakables, I automatically put my hands in my pockets. It was a good way to make sure my brother and I didn't accidentally break stuff or carry things around that we wanted to ask for at the checkout. Now it's just a habit and way more comfortable to keep up. I think that's so cute. I also think it's interesting, like how other people or how people act at their grandparents' house. Because I think that some people my grandparents' house was, I would say, very lived in. Like it was very, very clean. And we had certain rules. You took your shoes off when you got in. I didn't have a household where you took your shoes off, but my grandparents, you did take your shoes off. You did not wear your shoes upstairs. You did not gather in the kitchen. You didn't loiter really in the kitchen because that's where Nanny's working. Like she's doing things like don't loiter in the kitchen. Always close the door behind you. Always close the door. Like if you're going in and out, always close the door behind you. And my grandparents had a drink fridge. And so if you got a drink, like you got a soda can, you needed to finish it. Like that, you're not going to be wasteful and you're not going to just leave half a Sprite. This was not, I would say I was pretty good about this. My cousins were not, especially like a kid, to finish an entire soda can, I think is kind of hard, but it was mainly to prevent these just half drank sodas from being everywhere. So I remember that to be a rule as well. Wait, okay. This reminded me when I was little, I probably 4, 5, 6, 7, somewhere around there, my grandmother used to play, and we call her Nanny. So when I refer to Nanny, that's what we call my grandmother. We used to play something called Cinderella, and it was in the summer, and she would get a bucket, like a paint bucket, or like a cleaning bucket, fill it with soap and water and a scrub brush. And I would have this little kick pad that I would put down on the porch for my knees, because I was on my hands and knees, and I'd be scrubbing the porch. That was the game Cinderella. And she'd go, faster, Cinderella, you better clean, Cinderella. That was the game Cinderella. That's child labor. And you know what? I loved that game. I loved playing Cinderella. Ooh, loved it. And that is why I like to read smut. And I could make some sexual references there, and I will refrain. But let's just all make inferences in the kind of person that I am. Anyways, next, okay, keep going. Next one, not taking a shower when it's storming or might storm. I'm not sure if it's scientifically sound, especially with a fiberglass tub, but if it looks like it might storm, I'll still speed through my shower so I don't get electrocuted. Can anyone scientifically confirm if that's a thing? Because I also do this. I don't shower or bathe when it's raining or storming. Because you're going to die. I don't know. I've never had that happen, nor have I heard of anybody that's happened to, and I haven't had it confirmed to me that that's a real thing. But to my knowledge, yeah, that would happen. I don't really know, but I definitely had the rule. I feel like most people had that rule. That was the last of the Reddit submissions. I think this is so funny. I think, okay, especially when you go to move in with somebody, when you're moving in with another person, you learn about your isms and the household things that you brought with you. For example, when you use a washcloth at the sink, like you wash your face with a washcloth, I assume you wring it out. Where do you put it? I fold mine and it's laid like over the counter, over the sink. So it is like partially off the counter and partially like into the sink. Sometimes I will like hang it over the door of the cabinet underneath, but really I only started doing that because Joseph didn't like it on the sink. When I would come over, like when we would stay together or like when we lived together, he's like, oh my God, why do you do that? Because especially when we were working with one sink, because he would lean against the counter, not thinking, and there was just a wet washcloth there. I'm like, why are you leaning against the counter? Like there's a wet washcloth there. He's like, why are you putting a wet washcloth there? Like these are things that I didn't even think of. Or like where you put the dish soap. Does the dish soap stay on the counter? Does it go underneath? What kind of scrubber do you scrub your dishes with? Do you use like a scrubber with a handle? Do you use a sponge? Do you use a washcloth? People that use washcloths to clean their dishes, I find a little odd. There's so many isms and like little rules of like our childhood that we really don't understand, like bleeds into our adulthood. I find it hysterical. If you can think of any, if you have some rules that you had as a kid, I want to know them. Please submit them. Go to the YouTube. Go to this episode on YouTube if you're listening on another platform and let us know. You can also DM us at Mutual Friends Podcast on Instagram or on TikTok. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are. I hope this put a smile on your face. Please be sure to support the podcast by following us on TikTok and Instagram, and you can also follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, and YouTube. Oh, and the podcast is also on YouTube as well. Please share the podcast wherever you would like to share. If you tag us, we will be sure to shout you out and repost you if we can. I love you so very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!